Hello everyone, this is Will with Culture Keep, and with great excitement, I am making and bringing the first Marvel Contest of Champions video, and this is just going to be an entire series. I've just been completely blown away by this game. It has been just so much fun. It's super addicting, and it's just got a lot of moving parts to it, which is great. So in this video, what I wanted to cover are just a couple things, well, more than a couple, it's going to be more than 10, but some things that I wish I had known, before going into this, because when my roommate, he got me into this game, he had been playing for, I think, either a year or over that, on and off, kind of like deleting his account and then coming back, doing that kind of stuff. Which I guess is my first tip. Don't do that. I mean, if you really need the space on your phone, then I guess, but it's gonna suck if you delete the account and then come back and then lose all your stuff, or I don't know, you just don't want to lose all your stuff. So just put it away if you get bored, come back to it, because it's gotten so popular now with, of course, all the Marvel movies. Like, everybody's into Marvel now, which I think is a good thing, because Marvel's cool. You don't feel like an outcast, nerd, or geek anymore. Marvel's mainstream, which for some of the hardcore fans is a bad thing. But I mean, I think Marvel's done a really good job with the movies. But anyway, I digress. Let's focus on this game. So I have been playing this game for really 2 full months. I want to say 2.5 months, and this is really getting into the 3rd month for me, as far as events go. So my first tip, besides the first one of not deleting the app unless you really need to, is to keep your first message, because honestly, I don't know how to tell the exact day when I started. And so when you download this game, you will get a message. You'll see in the bottom left hand corner there's like a little circle with three people figures in it. I don't know what to call those. They look like little pawn chess pieces. But you'll have a mailbox once you click on that, and it's got a bunch of things that you can chat with people and all kinds of stuff. But in your mailbox, you'll have messages sent directly from the game. Like Kabam will send you messages about who knows what, all kinds of things are going on in this game. But I would not delete, or I don't know if there's a save feature. I think it might delete them after a certain amount of time. But yeah, like the last one I have is from June 28th, which at the recording of this video, it's July 5th, and obviously that's not 2.5, 3 months away. So keep that first message. That way you can kind of look back and be like, oh my gosh, I've been playing for a month and I'm already this far. It's definitely good to keep kind of, not necessarily a goal in mind, as far as like, oh, in 1 month I want 3 5-star champions. It's just kind of nice to look back and see how long you've been playing, how long it's taken you to progress, and things like that. So that's my first tip. My second tip is, don't sell any of your champions. So what does that mean? So when you first start playing the game, what's going to happen is you're going to start with most likely 2-star champions. I'm not even really sure how I got these 1-star champions, but you don't want to sell any of your champions, and the reason why. So if you look at the color of the stars, so you'll see the top row, you've got Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, etc. All their stars are gold, and you would think gold is better than silver. Well, in this game, silver is better than gold, because silver means the champion has been duplicated. What does duplicated mean? So I've got Ant-Man here. For those stars to get silver, I've had at least 2 2-star Ant-Mans. And you can get champions from premium crystals. You can get them from events. You can buy them. I haven't bought anything from this app. I might one day, but I don't mind grinding it out. There is a lot of grinding in this game. You've got to be good. You've got to be okay with the grind mindset. But once you have duplicated characters, you'll get what's called crystal shards and ISO. So I know I'm kind of like throwing out a bunch of words if you're like brand new to this game. But I'm going to go over that. And of course, if you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'm going to try and be as specific as possible so that, if you're just getting into this, you're not completely lost. So why are, crystal shards and ISO so important instead of, just selling these guys? Because I think, let's see if I can sell him, what it'll say. Okay, so it won't show you what you'll get. But if I sold him, I would get gold, 3-star shards, and I'm not 100% on this, but maybe some ISO. It's been so long since I've sold a champion. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sell... Let's go ahead and sell Scarlet Witch. So, I just told you not to. I'm going to. I would think a 1-star is the only champion. Okay, cool. There we go. So, it does show it. So, if you sell the champion, you'll get... Okay, so regular ISO, which is this gray stuff. ISO 8. This is what you use to basically level up your champions. There's, ISO 8 and there's XP. Those are really the things that'll help you progress in this game. The XP is literally for you. It's for your summoner rank, which you can see. It doesn't really show a bar, but you can see at the top of my screen where it's kind of like in the middle at the top where it has my top champion character and it says level 42. That's what the XP contributes to. So it goes, as far as now, it goes from up to 60. I'm not sure if Kabam will make it go higher, but it will go up to 60. But going back to the ISO, this is what you use to upgrade your champions. And then you'll see how this one's, the Mystic ISO. It's specific for Mystic characters. This is really good stuff. But you still don't want to sell this, you still don't want to sell your champion just to get more of this, because you'll get crystals that'll help you get more champions, and that will end up getting you more duplicates, and that will end up getting you more ISO in the long term. Because what happens when you duplicate a champion is you'll get ISO specific to their archetype. So let's go over archetypes real quick. So if you're ever wondering, once you get into your champions list, you can click down at the right hand corner. There's a little filter symbol, and it'll bring out like a little side window, and you can filter out your champions. But I'm going to do it by, let's see. There we go. Okay, sorry. So it's been a while since I've done that too. So you can go into filter. And so right now there are 6 main types. There's science, which is green, skill, I call it fighting, but everyone calls it skill, which is the fist. There's mutant, which is the little genetic DNA thing. Cosmic, which is the blue planet. Tech, which is the, I guess cosmic is a light blue, maybe a cyan, turquoise. Blue, tech, which you can kind of see, it's like a little gizmo circuit thing. And then of course mystic, I'm not really sure what that is. It looks like a little lantern with a moon in it. So those are your 6 types, and then you have 1 star to 6 stars. Alright, so you don't want to sell champions because it'll get you more ISO to level up your higher characters. Because when you start getting, honestly, even when you start getting 3 stars, you're going to start spending a lot of money on upgrading these guys, and it is a lot cheaper to upgrade them with their specific ISO instead of just the gray stuff. So yeah, I know that part was kind of long, but don't sell your champions unless they're 1 stars. I don't think there's any use of keeping them 1 star, because honestly, I haven't gotten any except for these 5, so I'll sell them later. All right, so moving on. So number 3 and number 4. Well, I'm not really keeping track, but I would say the next 2 tips I have are your fighting styles, and actually, your fighting proficiencies. So what I'm going to do now, so I clicked on my summoner profile, and it's already glowing. It says mastery over to the left in that little blue button. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on mastery, and this is kind of where you can upgrade all of your champions across the board. So you have offense, speaks for itself, defense speaks for itself, and then you have proficiencies. And proficiencies, in the beginning, in my opinion, are the most important. You want to get these as soon as possible. Now, how do you get, points to spend on proficiencies? You get XP and you level up. So obviously everyone starts at level 1. Once you basically get a point to spend for every level you go up. So I've spent 42 this is really what I recommend focusing on the most when you begin. And the one that you want to focus on first, I know you'll see XP up here, and that's very enticing because you're like, oh, well, why wouldn't I want to get more XP? That would lead to, more points along the road. Yeah, that's a good point. You could, maybe put your first one in there. It might help you, get XP faster. I haven't really noticed that much of a difference. But what I would recommend starting on is Parry, and it is this second one down here. It's this shield. And Parry is so important because, and I'll show you a little clip of gameplay. So what happens when you parry somebody is, instead of just blocking and taking damage, if you time the block just right, it will stun the opponent. And that leaves you a huge opening for combos, to use your specials. What you really do is, not to get too much into detail, is you build up to level 3 special, or I guess it depends on your champion, but usually you build up to level 3 special, and instead of using the special right away, you parry them, use the level 3 special. Once the level 3 special is over, if they've survived, they are still stunned, and then you can unload a whole another combo on them. And it is just so important to get this, because in the beginning you won't notice. In the beginning you'll probably be like, oh, this is so easy. But once you get to, even Act 3 was kind of challenging. Once you get to Act 3, things get hard and you'll want to get this parry. So get that, start investing that as soon as possible. You will have to get these, let's see what they're called. They're like some type of catalyst. No, they're not catalysts. What are they called? Mastery cores. You will have to invest in these, but these are pretty straightforward to get. You purchase them with these little gray dog tag things. They're called units, and you get those basically through playing the game, through quests, through all kinds of stuff. But you'll have to purchase those to get that. Alright, so now moving into the other mastery I suggest you get into is the Dexterity one. Which is the little running guy. And Dexterity is a lot like Parry. It is for defensive actions, but instead of stunning the enemy, so when you block, you obviously take damage, but it is highly reduced. And even when you block to activate a parry, when you block at the right time, you still take damage, but of course it makes up for it by allowing you to unleash a combo or whatever on the opponent. But what Dexterity does is it allows you to completely evade an attack. So when someone's attacking you, you can, swipe to the left. And I'll do a whole nother video on like basic fighting skills. But it's like most, it's like kind of like Mortal Kombat or Marvel vs. Capcom or Street Fighter, anything like that. When someone attacks you, you can move back and literally miss the entire shot. But for this one, you can pretty much avoid any kind of attack, to my knowledge, with Dexterity. There are probably some exceptions, but for the most part, you can miss them. So even if there's like a beam, like Iron Man, he shoots a beam across the entire map. And when I first started fighting him, I would, just set up my shield and I would block it. But if you time it right before the beam hits, you swipe to the left, and it will be almost as if you sidestep the beam, kind of like in any cool superhero fights. You see the superhero just like move his shoulder to the left or to the right, and kind of like the beam will miss him, and he'll just be like, ha, you're garbage. So definitely invest in Parry, definitely invest in Dexterity. Dexterity will probably cost you some units in the beginning, and then those, whatchamacallits, I've already forgotten what they're called. It'll cost you the cores, which you need units to get. Okay, alright, so another tip. So I am from the USA. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, East Coast time. And what I have noticed is that most of the players that I've come to contact with are from across the pond. They are from the UK. And in my alliance, we have people from Scotland and Britain, I believe. And I think maybe some other European countries, but it's mostly Britain and Scotland or Ireland, which is totally cool. But the reason I bring that up is because when you join an alliance, which is basically your group, and you fight together and on different tasks. So I can just show you right now. On this drop down menu, you click on Alliance. Sorry if that was kind of fast. You just press that drop down menu. It's the third one from the left. It's like your little toolbar up there. But your group is called an alliance of people. Total is 30 members. You can have as many as you want, but you obviously want to fill it up. And you can start your own alliance too. But all these guys are from across the pond, and when we start events, the major events for alliances are alliance wars and alliance quests, which are over here all the way on the right. And you kind of want to coordinate when you start them. And since there's a 5-hour difference between me and London time, I just have to keep that in mind. So usually what happens is obviously I'm behind them, so I'll wake up and they've already started everything, which is fine because you'll see right above, so we're looking at the 2 slots all the way on the right. You'll see at the top of the slots there's a little time, like a countdown. So the Alliance Quest has 2 days in it, and we crushed that, so you have plenty of time to participate in that. And then on the far right, there's a 6-hour countdown. The only thing that's kind of a bummer is that usually the earlier you start in the events, the more points you can get, and of course the more points you get, the better things you can get. So just keep that in mind. If you always want to be number 1, just, I guess, either talk to the Alliance members or the Alliance officers and say, hey, I'm in the US, is there any way we can start it a little bit later so that everyone has the same chance? But communication is very key, but just keep that in mind. If you're like, wait, you guys are how many hours ahead? That's why. And that ties directly with my next tip. There is an app called Line App, and it is just like Facebook Messenger in a way. It's actually just like WhatsApp if I had to compare it to anything. But Line App is what I've never even heard of it, to be honest, until I joined this game. But I would get Line App as soon as you join an alliance, because this is what we use to communicate, and you can already see that they're blowing up with all kinds of stuff. Most of the things we talk about are, just like communication, and like you can already see like map 4 for alliance quests, things that are going on in the alliance wars and events and things like that. But there's a lot of like the Spider-Man movie recently came out. We were talking about that, avoiding spoilers, but just telling everybody it was good and to go see it. Kind of helping each other out. People will post, pictures of their champions. Like, I think this is our leader of the alliance. He was just posting his 5-star pull, Kingpin, which, not that great, but hey, 5 stars a 5-star. But it's a great way to just communicate, get advice if you need it, especially when you're starting out. Don't be afraid to ask your leaders, should I upgrade this champion? Should I focus on, this event? I've only completed Act 2. I need ISO. What should I do? People who've been playing for a while can definitely help you out. But definitely get the Line app. You can get it so I have an Android, you can get it in the Play Store. I'm sure Apple has it in the, I don't even know what the Apple Store is called for the apps, but you know what I'm saying. But that's what it looks like. It's a little green thing and it says Line, L-I-N-E. Next tip is you want to try and participate in everything. So let's go to the home screen real quick. This is really where you'll start, pretty much when you start the game, unless you play it for you can play it for as long as you want, obviously until your phone battery runs out, and you can turn it off for like a minute or 2 and come back and it'll be fine. But usually, you'll play for an hour or so, and then you might not play for the rest of the day. So when you come back, you'll probably come back to this home screen. And so there are a ton of things you can do. Personally, what I would recommend when starting out, and this is just like from my taste of gameplay, is I would start with the story. But regardless, what you want to do is you're going to start where it says fight, because that's like 99% of this game is fighting and grinding. So you've got all these things. You might not see the last 2 until you join, or this whole tab over here, the alliance mode. You might not see that until you join alliance. So don't worry if you don't see that. That's for a whole separate thing. You have story quests, you have event quests, and you have verses. I like stories, and even though the stories are I like the big story that's in the background. I'll probably do a separate video on that because it is based on a comic series. But I would recommend starting on the story quests first. It just gives you like an easy intro, an easy grip. They're like little videos and stuff that kind of tell you what's going on. And you'll start here with Act 1. And the beginning, it's pretty easy. Like, Kabam did a great job to not make it like super hard, super discouraging. You might have to grind a little bit, but it's fun in my opinion, and it's pretty straightforward. You have chapters, you have acts, and then you have chapters, and then you have tiles. So you can see how it breaks down right here on the screen. It's pretty straightforward, and it's just like you here. I'll show you. Oh, I'm already doing something. Okay, so let me show you. They pretty much have the same layout. It's just like the harder the maps get, or the more you progress, the harder the maps get and the bigger they get. So let me just show you real quick what they look like. I'm doing an event right now, which events are really good too. They're monthly, and you definitely want to try and participate them, or just like do them as much as possible within that month. Maybe even more so than the story, but for starting out, I would suggest starting with the story. Try and complete Act 1 as soon as possible, and then do the event quests. But of course, you can do them at the same time. But this is basically what it looks like. It's just like a bunch of little connected nodes. It's like a circuit board, for lack of a better metaphor. But you just travel through these nodes using energy, and you can see energy is like basically in the middle of my screen with a lightning bolt. You can click on that and it shows you different energies. So quest energy, everybody has that. That's what you use to travel through quests. And then if you're in alliance, you can use that stuff. And of course you can use items to boost your energy, but we're gonna stay away from items really for now, because this is just a basic overline, basic outline of tips. Even though this video is gonna be long, I apologize, but I hope it helps some of you guys. But that's what it looks like. But definitely, I would recommend starting with the story quests or the event quests first. Now, when you start out, you've seen my energy. It's 6 out of 60. So I'm level 42. I have 60 energy. When you start out, I think you start out with less than 20. It might only be 10. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember, but it's definitely not 60. And so you'll find that you'll run out of energy fairly quickly. And some people might say you should spend your units to get energy items. What I'm going to say is go to Versus. So Versus is this next tab right here. And Versus is basically an endless arena. You have your quick matches one-on-one, which is pretty straightforward. You just, choose any of your champions to fight, and it's just one battle versus somebody else who plays. Now, to my knowledge, you never actually fight somebody live. You are fighting other people's characters, but the AI is controlling and operating their character. It's not them playing, because that would be insane. You get a notification at like 2 a.m. and someone wants to fight you, and you're probably asleep. So the AI is usually what you're fighting against. But regardless, it's still pretty fun, and it's a good way to grind. And the arenas don't cost any energy. The only thing they cost is like how many champions you have. So let me take a look at this first one, the 3 versus 3 summoner trials. I've already started playing on this one. So they're each confined. They each limit you to a number of champions. It doesn't look like I've played this in a little bit. But so you'll see to the left, you'll have your characters, and then you'll fight with them all. And then if you win, then you move on. Even if you lose, you move on, but you lose like the streaks and stuff. Lots of stuff. But anyway, once you play with them, they'll get tired. And usually they have a cooldown of like an hour per champion. If you join an alliance, you can ask alliance members to help you, and it reduces the cooldown by a certain amount. But each champion usually has a cooldown about an hour, hour and a half, depending on the arena. But it doesn't cost any energy, so you can do this for as long as you want, as long as you have champions. And it's a really good way to get extra stuff. So you can see what you can get for everything you do by clicking on the green button that says View Rewards. And you want all this stuff. Just trust me, you want all of this stuff. But yeah, so story, event quests, things that use quest energy first, and then do arenas. And then when, depending on how much time you want to invest this, when everything's done, I think it's good that it kind of limits you to how much you can play. Like, you can play for hours on end, but there is going to be a point probably where you'll have to stop and then go outside, stretch, read a book, I don't know, do something besides play this game. because it is addicting, and you need to you need to live. Next tip, which is a big one, and obviously which probably brought you guys here, is that everything is on YouTube. There's just like endless amounts of advice on YouTube and Google, and of course there are forums too. Reddit's got some stuff. Kabam has their own forum for this. You can literally go into Google and type in Marvel Contest of Champions, and it'll probably be the first thing. You don't have to create. Actually, I would suggest creating an account because you do get like a free little thing. Okay, so to get to your Kabam account, I can't talk. To get to your Kabam account, and I'm not sure if I explained this earlier or not, but Kabam, they're the people that created this game. They're an app development company. But to get to your account or to create one, you'll see at the top of the screen, all the way in the left-hand top corner, there's a little gear icon, which is like the universal symbol for settings. You want to click on that. And then I've already created one, so I can log in, sign in, whatever. But I would recommend doing this. You don't have to do it immediately, but there are a bunch of annoying pop-ups that kind of like Kabam wants you to create an account, you know, so they can get your email address and send you stuff. But it's not like really spam, and I mean, you can change your email settings. But you get a free crystal out of it, and it's just really good to look at the forums. Like for the event for Spider-Man that's going on right now, there was a bug. Some events, they release them weekly, like a tile will release weekly or something, or a chapter will release weekly. But the Spider-Man one was supposed to be like, it came out July 4th, and everybody could play it for all the way through. Everything was, you know, released. You just had to beat everything. But there was a bug in the beginning to where you couldn't access the second tile. So I went straight to the forum. I was actually watching another YouTuber, and he was just like, I guess that there's a bug. That's what it says in the forums. So it's kind of good to pay attention. You know, if you're just like, what the heck, you can kind of go back to the forums and check that out. All right. So next is you want to log in every day. That's pretty self-explanatory. You just turn the app on and play. You don't even have to play, you just have to log in. But when you go to your home screen, you see at the bottom, you'll see all these little icons. You'll see mine's like, it's got this like weird green thing with the ×1, golden green crystal, this little medical kit with a 3 next to it, and then next to that, it's like a little flip calendar with a green check mark on it next to the golden trophy. So you want to click on that, and this is your calendar. And these are the rewards you get for logging in every day. Now, yours are going to look different than mine if you're just starting. Kind of going back to when I said complete Act 3 as soon as possible. For every act you beat, you will get better and better rewards because the game realizes that you're progressing, and you know you don't want to keep getting the same stuff. Who in the heck wants that? But when you log in every day, you get little something, and you definitely want to get these little somethings because they are great. And you can see towards the end, like, you'll like crave 5-star crystals like nothing else. Even when you're starting, you want to get as many of these as possible because, I mean, 4-star champions are like the bread and butter. I think they're the foundation, but 5-star champions are what's going to help you beat this game pretty much. And you know, obviously 6 stars are like, you know, the best of the best, but you won't get those for a long time. Not to sound discouraging, but it's gonna take you a long time unless you buy them. Which I'm not sure if Kabam even does, but you want to log in every day. Pretty straightforward stuff. I'll let you guys check that out on your own. It's just click on that calendar icon. So another tip is you want to check you've got like milestones, like a little checklist. So all the way in the bottom right hand corner, you've got a clipboard and a green check mark. So these are things that you can do throughout your gameplay that you'd want to get because it gives you extra stuff. It's kind of like the calendar, but you have to earn it. Excuse me, you have to do certain things instead of logging in every day. Goodness gracious, excuse me. And same thing for the solo events and the alliance events. These are really good to pay attention to because they change pretty much every day. But they're very unique. Sometimes you have to have certain champions to get these things. Sometimes you have to play certain things. Like, see, this one's like Mystic Arena Battle. You have to play with Mystic champions. And this is another reason why you don't want to sell champions, is because, like, if you sold all of your Mystic champions and something like this comes up and, like, the rewards are really good, you're going to be like, I'm a fool. Yeah, you are. still sell your champions. Cool. All right, so the next tip is you want to start learning who the best champions are. And what I'm going to do is post a link to pretty much the YouTuber I follow. I'm not even gonna say his name because I can't remember how to pronounce it right now. But it's Seattin man. Great guy. I think he's from the UK. He definitely sounds like it, but he could be from somewhere else. I'm not gonna put that on him. But he has basically done a lot of research, and he's got like updated spreadsheets. He pretty much does it monthly now because new characters are added monthly, and it just shows you the best champions. So the reason why it's important to figure out the best champions is you're going to be getting all these items, you're going to be getting all this XP and ISO to invest in your champions, but you don't want to be like, oh, like, I'm gonna try and so Sentry's really cool. If you've read the comics, Sentry's a really cool character, and he's extremely powerful in the comics too, but for some reason in this game he's just not that great. His abilities aren't that great compared to most, his buffs aren't that great, his just overall character prowess is just very, very lacking compared to Hyperion, which is arguably one of the best cosmic champions, or one of the best champions overall, just because he is a tank of power. But you want to learn who to invest in, because you don't, obviously the goal is to have fun, but you don't want to, invest all of your resources into a character who's really going to be garbage as you progress through the game, and you're going to be losing battles, and you're going to be like, what am I doing wrong? And you're like, oh, I should have invested in Hyperion instead of Sentry. So make sure you get that. Again, I'm going to put a link to that video that he has for the top champions. So my top champions that I'm investing into, so I'm going to filter by hero rating. So Jane was my first 4-star mystic that I liked. I'm a big Thor fan, and Jane Foster, like, if you ever get a chance to read those comics, they're really cool. Seeing Jane Foster become Thor, and she's really, really powerful, really OP, which is cool. But I wanted to get, her, I wanted a 3K character basically. But I recently got Symbiote Supreme, who is, I'm going to say it, he's the best Mystic champion. He is insanely powerful. And, I could have waited to invest all those resources into him. I should have maybe, but I've been pretty good with Jane. She's tough. She's got some good abilities too. So definitely not a complete waste. But Wasp, Symbiote Supreme, and Aegon, those are definitely really good champions to invest into. But that's a whole separate video. And once I get more knowledge, then I'll make a video on that. Alright, so that is pretty much it for the tips and tricks. Some bonus tips is, obviously you're playing on your phone. You're going to want to turn off notifications that just pop down. You probably saw some in the beginning, excuse me, where it kind of like pops down. When you're fighting, that can make it or break it for the battle, because it's blocking your vision. It can distract you. You might accidentally click on it, like Facebook Messenger. That little bubble might pop out of nowhere, and you click on it, and it'll make you want to throw your phone at the wall, which don't do. But look at the apps you have that, if you've got a lot of people hitting you up on, Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, whatever, things that pop up, you might want to go to the notification settings and turn those off while you're playing. And then when you're done, you can turn them back on. I just leave them off. I just check them once or twice a day, really, and then get back into the game. But yeah, find out the notifications you want to turn on and off. And then I guess the last tip, this is kind of self-explanatory, but you want to take care of your screen. You're going to be tapping like a madman on your screen, and I believe hands and fingers are the dirtiest parts of your body, which makes sense because you're touching stuff with them. So even if you clean your hands like every single time you touch this screen, like, well, your hands are gonna be wet and you're gonna suck at this game, but it's gonna leave a film of your oils are gonna get on the screen. So honestly, you want to clean your screen before you start playing, and especially if you're doing like an important event, just get like a little a little wipe it. You can wet a paper towel. I like to use like a disinfectant wipe, like a little Lysol wet wipe thing, wipe it down, and then wipe it down with the toilet paper, or not, wow, yes, toilet paper, no, a paper towel. And just make sure it's clean, because it will make it easier. You know, you don't want your screen to be sticky. You don't want to miss a parry or an evade, because that's going to be bad. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I know that was a lot, but I think I provided a lot of value, especially for people who are new to this. If you found some value in this, feel free to leave a like, and I would love it if you left a subscription. There's going to be just a ton of videos coming out documenting my experiences and just providing some value to you guys who are into this game. Definitely recommend to all kinds of Marvel fans. There are so many characters in here that I didn't even know existed. They're just like, I think there's like 180 now. As you can see, I don't have nearly even half. But like Venom the Duck, I didn't really know about him. Or this guy, the Champion, I didn't know about him. But when you get them, you get some info on them, and you can nerd out, learn more. All right, well, I've talked enough. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.